This video is brought to you by Skillshare. Today, Israel's anger at the UN Secretary-General, Donald Trump's former associates turn on him, and the Kremlin denies rumours about Vladimir Putin's health. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Wednesday the 25th of October 2023. A feud between Israel and the United Nations is heating up after the Israeli ambassador vowed to teach them a lesson in response to a speech by the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. Guterres said in a speech that Hamas's October the 7th attack on Israel that killed more than 1,400 people was appalling, but said the attack did not happen in a vacuum, adding that the Palestinian people have been subjected to 56 years of suffocating occupation, with their land steadily devoured by settlements, their economy stifled, their people displaced, and their homes demolished. He went on to say, however, that the grievances of the Palestinian people cannot justify the appalling attacks by Hamas, and those appalling attacks cannot justify the collective punishment of the Palestinian people. Guterres also said that there had been clear violations of international humanitarian law in Gaza and reiterated his appeal for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. Israel reacted furiously, with the country's UN ambassador calling the speech shocking and accusing Guterres of expressing an understanding for terrorism and murder. The Israeli ambassador has since said that the time has come to teach them a lesson, and that due to Guterres' remarks, Israel would refuse to issue visas to UN representatives, adding that they'd already refused one for Martin Griffiths, the Under-Secretary-General for Humanitarian Affairs. All this comes as the UN says a shortage of fuel in Gaza is threatening aid operations, with the UN agency in question saying it would have to halt operations on Wednesday night if no fuel was delivered. Israel has said it will not allow fuel to be delivered to Gaza alongside the limited deliveries of food, water and medicine, because Hamas would take the petrol for its military infrastructure. In response to the UN's call for fuel deliveries, the Israeli military tweeted, "Ask Hamas if you can have some." Meanwhile, the UN Security Council continues to deliberate over the conflict, as the death toll in Gaza from Israeli airstrikes surpasses 5,700. The United States is opposing calls for a ceasefire, for example in a draft resolution put forward by Russia, and instead wants humanitarian pauses to allow aid deliveries to Gaza. The difference may seem minute, but a pause is generally considered less formal and shorter than a ceasefire, according to Reuters. There's more on the way, but be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to make the daily briefing part of your daily routine, or just search for us on your podcast app to listen along. We turn to Donald Trump's ongoing legal saga now, where it seems that his once loyal circle of associates are turning on him in order to defend themselves. Last week, Trump's former legal advisors Sidney Powell and Kenneth Chesebro, who played central roles in the plot to overturn the 2020 election, struck a plea deal with prosecutors in Georgia, which includes a requirement to testify against other co-defendants. Then, on Tuesday this week, another of Trump's co-defendants in the Georgia case, Jenna Ellis, also flipped and took a plea deal which will see her cooperate with prosecutors while serving, among other things, 5 years of probation. On the same day as Ellis pleaded guilty, former Trump lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen was testifying against Trump in the separate civil fraud trial in New York. It's also been reported by ABC News that Donald Trump's former White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, has testified to a federal grand jury about Trump's efforts to overturn the election, possibly in exchange for limited immunity from prosecution. In what might be a sign that Trump recognises the increasing legal peril he finds himself in, he lashed out on his social media platform Truth Social, saying he didn't think that Meadows would take a deal to get immunity, adding, "Some people would make that deal, but they are weaklings and cowards, and so bad for the future of our failing nation. I don't think that Mark Meadows is one of them, but who really knows?" In a separate post in response to Sidney Powell's plea deal, Trump said in full capitals, "Miss Powell was not my attorney and never was." In news from China, the country's defense minister has officially been sacked 2 months after he disappeared from public life, making him the second high-profile politician to be ousted in 3 months. According to Chinese state media, General Li Shangfu was dismissed as defense minister and removed from his position as state councillor. It was also announced that Qin Gang, who was sacked as foreign minister in July, had also had his position as state councillor removed. No official explanation has been given for Li's disappearance and subsequent dismissal, though as we covered in a video last month, it was reported by Reuters that he was under investigation for potential corruption related to equipment procurement. At the time of writing, there has not been a new defence minister announced, meaning that China is currently without a defence minister, even as it prepares to host a summit of foreign defence officials at the end of the month. Meanwhile, in Russia, the Kremlin has laughed off claims that President Vladimir Putin's health is in decline after online speculation that he's suffered a heart attack. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said, "Everything is fine with Putin. This is absolutely another fake." A further question about body doubles drew a laugh from Peskov, who said, "This absolutely belongs to the category of absurd information hoaxes that a whole series of media discuss with enviable tenacity. This evokes nothing but a smile." The recent rumours emerged from a Russian Telegram channel called General SVR, which claims to draw on sources from Russia's intelligence services and is known for publishing exciting but unsubstantiated claims about Putin. This is certainly not the first time that rumours about 71-year-old Putin's health and well-being have been spread. But amid speculation in 2022, the head of the CIA, William Burns, said the agency thought he was entirely too healthy, while the head of MI6, Richard Moore, said there is no evidence that Putin is suffering from serious illness. Interestingly though, Putin did once say in a 2020 interview that he had previously been offered a body double for his protection, but he said he rejected the offer. And finally, in some uplifting news, debt activists in the United States have brought up and erased nearly $10 million in student debt for Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. The Debt Collective, a national debtors union in collaboration with the Rolling Jubilee Fund, bought the near $10 million in debt for a little more than a penny on the dollar. The debt was owed across 2,777 accounts and was eliminated with the college's permission. A few weeks ago, we told you that we were making a physical newspaper, but it turns out that designing a newspaper isn't all that easy. So we headed to Skillshare to take their course on the topic. Unlike when Jack tried to learn InDesign for another never-released project a few years ago, this time he was guided through the process quickly and efficiently. And this time the project will actually see the light of day thanks to Skillshare's incredibly easy-to-follow guides. In fact, here's an exclusive little preview of what we've been working on. It's not just that either. You likely already knew Skillshare for classes and things like photography, editing and illustration. But did you know that Skillshare also has hundreds of career-focused classes too? That's courses on everything from how to start a business to maximising your workflow or how to grow in e-commerce. Another course that Jack's taking to help him with the newspaper. And if you use our link, then you can get access to all of that for free. That's right, the first 500 people to use our link will get access to one of Skillshare's best offers. 30 days free and 40% off your first year of Skillshare membership. That's the best Skillshare offer we've ever had, so make sure you click our link in the description. Thanks for your support and to Skillshare for sponsoring this video.